Welcome to Makers International, a podcast of makers, connecting with makers from all around the world. Here's your hosts, Jamie Page, Chris Cute, and now, Richard Morley.
Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, good times, whatever time it is and wherever you are listening. Join with me, as always, Mr. Chris Cute.
Cheers.
And also, Jamie Page.
How you doing?
I'm knackered, is what I am. I'm absolutely exhausted. So you guys are going to properly, and I mean you guys in the live audience, and the thought of you guys listening in the future are going to have to help me through tonight, because I literally may actually fall asleep. I'm definitely going to be yawning at some point. I have already been yawning, so I apologise in advance for that. So, yeah.
Let's find out if anyone notices.
We could do like a this could be like for our next giveaway in episode whatever tonight is. Yeah. How many times did Richard yawn? And then everyone's gonna be jotting it down now. Like 1, 2, 3. Place your bets.
We can place our bets on how long it will take him to do that.
How many times can Jamie make Richard yawn?
Scroll so.
We actually have a giveaway we need to do coming up pretty soon, don't we, Jamie?
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
I mean, actually, I think we're overdue. We're gypping our listeners.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys. We're just lame.
Yeah, I'll go on that.
And you gave that to Stephen.
I'll get on that.
All right, Richard. I'm sorry.
That's all right. No, it's fine. It's fine.
As usual.
No, as always, I'm used to it. I've just kind of dodged to one side, and away we go again. So as always, this evening's show, and I don't know why they're probably jumping ship like rats on a sinking ship. Our awesome sponsors. Tonight's show is, of course, brought to you in part by Yorkshire Grip, the Wood Turner's Abrasive Paste, our good friend Chad at Mancrafting, Pam from Highland Boxes, and also Steve Harneal from Harneal Media. Hopefully, who is feeling a lot better.
He's in the chat.
I've just seen the thing.
I hope you're feeling a lot better, pal.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
definitely.
You're feeling a lot better and get back to taking all my credit again.
Absolutely. You see, you get sick. Like, you can't be poorly, because like Jamie's supposed to be doing giveaways and stuff, and actually we know that you organise all that, and it hasn't happened. So get well. So
we can do it live without you, Steve. Don't worry about it. Just take a chill pill and relax and enjoy life.
Is that Chris going? Nah, don't worry about it. Just take.
Yeah, it's just don't worry about it. That's
get ready when you need.
That's pretty much what I was saying. Get ready when you need. I mean,
sort of downplaying the get well soon. Get well
no.
Whenever you like.
No. Something got confused there. That was it's not exactly what it was.
Obviously.
Whatever. Anyway, go.
Jamie's out of the line of fire this week, and all guns aimed in Chris's direction.
Yeah.
Why is it never on Richard, Jamie? I mean,
it's because you've got my name on the screen. That's what it is. He's
and you've got my name on yours, so it's
Why is that? It's coming up on the screen, and you've got arrows pointing at each other as well, as if it's like, that's Chris, that's Jamie.
Hey.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It was worth it.
It's like good night from me, and it's good night from him.
That makes sense. But yes, as I was about to say, and completely lost track of it. If you want to find out more about our sponsors, and seriously, in all 100% seriousness, these are awesome people with awesome products for makers, woodworkers, woodturners, etc. They really are, and we wouldn't want them supporting us if we thought those products were tat. So take that as you will. So more information about those on the website, makersinternationalpodcast.com/sponsors, and all the information is there to find out more about Pam's Blanks and Yorkshire Grit and the Mancrafting mugs, and also Harneal Media as well. Mm-hmm. So that's all on there. That's it. I'm done. I'm out of kind of
for full disclosure here, those awesome sponsors, they don't actually pay us money. This podcast does not make money. The only reason why they are sponsors is because they provide us goods to provide to you. That's why we call them sponsors, because they do have a cost, but it doesn't come to us. It goes to you guys that when we do giveaways. And that's why I feel bad that we're backed up on that, because we should probably do one maybe next week, Jamie, when Richard isn't here.
Cool. I like the way you brought that up because you can do one next week, and because I'm going to do one because I've got to work. So
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm thinking toga party show.
There you go. I like where you're going with this.
that's definitely one.
I like where you're going.
I tell you what, Chris and Jamie at a toga party, that's got audio only written all over it, hasn't it?
Well, I'm just trying to think of things that you wouldn't let us get away with, Richard. I mean, like, hey, when we have the opportunity, let's take a chance and toga. Animal House. Oh, revisited.
I can wear my coconuts.
I just got this vision of Jamie in a,
I do have a random
grass skirt and the
Grass skirt.
no, that's not a toga. That's whatever. Anyway, you guys are
right.
weird.
We definitely no, not happening.
We do have a random listener question this week.
That's good. I'd just like to get all those people in the live chat, people like Andy Pugh, Wendell Wood Turner, our regular listeners. Andy from AH Bespoke, back me up on this, please. We'll start a petition. No togas next week.
Yes, togas next week.
Oh,
There's a new gen, and I don't know if I'm not familiar. And so, hello for the first time to Circular Wood by Keith for joining us. Keith, if I know you, I apologize for not recognizing your handle.
I know of Keith.
Awesome.
Yeah, I know him.
It's good to see him. It's the first time I've seen him.
He's the Blue Light Turner's fake dad.
I don't want to know.
Yeah,
Never
good
mind.
guy.
fair play. Presumably a wood turner with a circular wood. I'm guessing. I don't.
Yeah, I guess so.
Not that it's important because everyone's welcome. But are you, Jamie? You've been scroll sawing, haven't you? Recently, you've been doing.
I have been scroll sawing.
We sort of.
I have been, yeah.
I just kind of felt like the last few episodes we were all being a little bit, I don't know, not quite about what we were doing, but I wasn't kind of up to speed in what you were going. I know Chris has been basically tied in his workshop, and obviously with a workshop the size of Chris's, it takes a team of contractors, an army,
Ground force.
Yes, exactly, like 24/7 working shifts.
It takes a team of mules to drag me around so that I could actually up. Yeah.
Yeah, literally, they're bussing in people from
You guys
all
are
across the state just to.
Well,
That's
you're
what
both
it is.
idiots. And I'm going to interrupt you.
Move that bus. Move that bus.
I'm going to interrupt because you guys both suck. I'm going to interrupt you both because we do have a random listener question this week that we should probably attend to before we get into the Jamie returning to the scroll saw thing. Karam, and if Karam's out in the audience today, and he may well be, I haven't seen him.
Oh, I think I did see.
Well, if he's there, then hey, buddy.
Yeah.
Thanks for the question. I appreciate it. Hey, there he is right there. His question is, and this has nothing to do with the topic, it's just, kind of, off the cuff question. Is there anything that you have learned during the past few months that you intend to incorporate going forward? And I could be reading too far into this, Karam, and if I am, then please say so. But I'm guessing what he's talking about with, lockdowns and things that have happened since like March, February, that people might have more time to get out in their shop, that they might have, delved into something that they ordinarily wouldn't have had time to do. But I don't know that to be what the point of his question was. But again, anything you've learned in the past few months that you intend to keep using in the future? And the answer is no. And the answer is no. I mean, that's a no.
I don't want to answer this. So I'm gonna say yes, but there's also a yes and no answer. So yes, in the case of I've just started using traditional tools, and no, I haven't learned it fully. So it's kind of I'm still learning, and yes, I'm still going to carry on using it alongside the carbide tools that I still use because there's no way I'm going to stop using them. So
So have you started using traditional tools as a result of lockdown?
Yeah, I've started. No. Record Power sent me their new set of traditional tools that they're just releasing as a tester, and I kind of thought to myself, well, why not do since I've never done traditional turning before, why not do a Learn With Me series, as I don't think there's anyone out there doing that. So yesterday, which would be Saturday for the people listening on Wednesday, I put out a video where I've had no lessons at all from anybody, where I've been watching videos from YouTube on how tool presentation and all that kind of stuff.
Well,
Basically just went ahead and
tool presentation, like as in like a shiny box or like a polythene bag or just hanging on a hook or
no, as in what way to hold it towards a bit of wood.
For anyone listening down the road, the look on Jamie's, there's like a completely blank look, like what?
Yeah,
and then
what? What are you talking about? Bubble wrap?
Sorry, yeah,
how to present the tool to the wood and angle like 30 degrees and all that sort of stuff, like how to ride the bevel and all that kind of stuff. So just through watching YouTube videos, that's literally the only lessons I've had. So from that's the first episode done, in the bag, edited, put out. Next episode should be with Wayne Woodturner. When I see Wayne in a few weeks, maybe, if all goes to plan. So that'd be like a social distance lesson, if that's possible.
Up north and all the way down south. That's definitely.
So if all goes to plan.
Well, I'm not here to blow sunshine up Jamie's rear end, obviously, because that's the last thing I ever want to do. But I do appreciate and respect you for stepping outside of your comfort zone and doing something that you ordinarily wouldn't have done. Because I saw that video, it was actually well done, and you did, and like we talked about before we went on. I mean, it doesn't matter if I would have done things differently or not than you did as far as technique. The end result ended up really nice. I mean, you ended up doing it, rather well. So good for you, and good luck on your journey, because traditional tools are different. But
they very much are. I mean, I found myself kind of like muscle memory kind of reverting back to carbide quite a bit. I had to keep telling myself, go back.
I mean, I have the exact opposite of that, because I remember when you came over here a couple of years ago, I don't think you'd had your carbide tools, the Easywood tools, for very long. In fact, I think
very long.
I think you brought one of them with you, if I remember rightly. I couldn't stand using it. It was really hard because it was all just so completely different. And Chris, I think any wood turner that turns, when you hold like a gouge and you hold the tip of the gouge about maybe right up against the tool rest, about an inch towards the end. I was doing that with the carbide tools, and they get really hot, really quick. And it was like, I hate this. This is horrible. I really just was like, it was really difficult, and because everything is different, and that's all it is. It's because it's different, and it's something you're used to. And like you said,
that's kind of what I was. That's kind of what I was implying when I was looking at Jamie's video when he was using traditional tools, because I do the same, Richard. I hold my traditional tools about an inch, back from the end, and I let my forefinger ride along the rest.
Yeah.
And that's how I get a nice even cut across the piece of wood, as opposed to, because if you have your hand back and you're just kind of doing it like you would with carbide, you have no gauge on whether you're doing it correctly or not. That was one of the things I was thinking about when Jamie was doing it. But I hear what you're saying, because I don't have large Easywood tools. I have a small pen turners kit. Like I have the 3 pen turners kits, and for what they do and what I've been using them for, they work great, and I have no problem using them. It's just it really is a different approach, though, isn't it, Jamie? Because one works one way and the other one works a lot better another way, so you can't use them both the same way.
I mean, I'll fess up and say I haven't seen any YouTube. I haven't even logged into my YouTube account only in the last 2 minutes to make sure I don't forget watching Jamie's video, because I'm genuinely 100% interested in that. So I'm completely out of this, but props to you for kind of doing that almost in the opposite way to go from one to the other. Because I mean, you've now presumably got to get a grinder and some sharpening jigs.
I've already done that. I've got the Sorby Pro Edge.
Oh, it's just well, you know.
Oh well, since money grows on trees at Jamie's house,
Jamie's approach is what, you know. I've just got given a driving license, so obviously I just had to go out and get a Porsche, you know, to go to the shop.
I've got a Porsche tree out the back.
All right, well, Richard, is there anything that you've learned in the past few months that you intend to incorporate going forward, or has it just been kind of you're just looking to get back into business? I think, my friend.
I mean, it's kind of not because I am back doing like the client jobs. I'm in a massive one at the moment doing a load of sash windows. I've got 2, 4, 6, just sat next to me here. I'll briefly show. There you go.
If I remember right, there were almost like 18 of them. Then if I saw the picture correctly.
Yeah, I mean there were 12, like 6 uppers, 6 lowers, and they're still in the shop. So I've been doing those in the afternoons when I've been getting back after a shift at the hospital, because I've been doing that as well. So effectively, the last 2.5 weeks I've been working basically 2 full-time jobs. So I'm just like zombie at the moment.
Well, let me ask you about, because you've been volunteering with the NHS at the hospital. So
yeah, so it's not volunteer. Basically, what happened was way back in March, the county trust put out a shout, because I think they were basically covering their bases and thinking if lots of our staff get really sick, then there's going to be lots of roles that aren't going to be getting done. So we need to get people in to do those roles so that they can, you know, take people that know the hospital. Basically, I can go and empty a load of bins, and somebody can say, right, those bins, and the person that would normally empty those bins could then go and do something on top of that elsewhere, right, because they know the location. It just made kind of fill in vacancies a lot easier just by kind of pushing people up to the more, I don't know, somewhere at the top of that tree there's a brain surgeon doing surgery, and somewhere in the middle there's someone else. Sort of, if you see what I mean, people are just kind of filling the gaps for potential sickness. And it took so long for it to come through. I didn't start getting shifts until about 3 weeks ago, by which time things had started calming down a bit, and I was getting back into doing client work. And I just thought, I've gone 3 months and I've gone through like 3 months savings. It seems a bit ridiculous to pass up an opportunity, because it's paid shift work. It's not volunteering per se.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, I'm not completely altruistic about it. I've got to get something back because I'm exhausted. I want something back for losing all this sleep.
Well, let me ask you a question. Have you learned anything by working in that environment that you can incorporate in your shop? Because I mean, there's a lot of.
Yeah, I mean, I tell you what, it's a great
gadgetry when it comes to hospitals.
Hospitals are an absolutely fantastic place to womble things.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and basically recycle, because there's a lot of stuff which is of no use to the NHS because it's broken beyond repair. So for somebody who likes to take things apart and steal bearings and wheels and bits of foam or whatever, think of all the constituent parts of a broken office chair. Like, I know there's going to be people out there listening to this going, "Oh, the things I could do with a broken office chair." Which, to anyone not kind of into that, this is going to sound really kind of some weird fetish show there. But so anyone not into that, it makes no sense at all. But just those little wheels. So that's one thing I've learned. But outside of that, I was thinking with my suppliers, emailing and being organised has got to be the most important thing I've learned, because not only am I, from the point of view of working 2 jobs, I have to plan things really carefully. So I know I'm going to finish at 1, and then I've got about half an hour and get something to eat, get changed, and then kind of start work doing something else. I can't get there at say 2 o'clock in the afternoon and go, right, I need some wood and I'm going to need this. You've got to plan even more so, because you do that anyway. I mean, any project, you go, I'm going to make a plywood cabinet. So, right, plywood. I haven't got any plywood. You have to plan these things in advance, but you have to then organise when it's going to turn up, when you're going to actually work out what you need and when you're going to order it and where you're going to order it from and what happens if they haven't got it, and all the other options that you just normally just take for granted. You've got to organise in your head, when am I going to find time to do that, let alone go and get it or get it delivered, because where am I going to be and where do I want to get it delivered to? So I've actually been having stuff for jobs delivered to the hospital, like not massive like lorry loads of timber, but like small things, pots of paint and abrasives and stuff like that, because no one's going to be at home, so there's no point it being delivered to home when no one's there for them to go back and re-deliver it another day when there's still no one there and I can't get on without it. So just without trying to overcomplicate everything, just planning and organising and forward thinking is the most important thing. Because
my answer to this question, and I apologize because, Karim, I'm going to be rather flippant about it because, because obviously I haven't been able to get out in my shop, at least not for any lengthy period of time, so where I actually could make something. But it's getting better. Hang in there. It'll happen soon. I promise you. At least I hope to promise you. Have you learned anything during the past few months that you intend to incorporate going forward? Yes, I've learned the importance of voting. So pandemic or not, I plan on voting. Okay. I didn't say who for, so don't get mad at me. I've also learned that I need to get changed more often because, being stuck at home, you kind of get comfy in the clothes, and then all of a sudden you realize, like the third morning,
it's been a week.
I'm still wearing the same thing I was wearing. It's like I should probably get changed and take a shower.
I got up at the beginning of the week, and here I am. I'm still up.
And the only other thing I've learned is that when the dog starts pacing back and forth, and on the room here, is he wants to go out. And I found that out the hard way because. Yeah, well,
Have you guys been out? And this includes the live audience as well. Has anyone been out to like the out like shops or?
I've gone to 3 stores.
Like the grocery shopping or anything like that.
I've gone to 3 stores. I've gone to the market to buy the weekly groceries. I've gone to the beer store because, let's be honest, that's a necessity.
I was expecting that to be the first one, to be honest, not the second. But anyway.
Well, actually, it could have been one, but I didn't want to flip you off because it was the middle finger. And I've gone to local Walgreens to pick up things when I didn't want to go through the hassle of going to the market.
Walgreens is like a pharmacy.
It's a pharmacy, but it's a store that has kind of supermarket things in it as well. And so when you need just a little something, you don't want to go through the hassle of going to the supermarket. You go to the Walgreens and you pick up whatever it is that you need there, and you get in and get out a lot faster. So those are the only 3 places I've gone since this whole lockdown has happened. That's my life, as depressing as that may seem, but that is my life.
That kind of makes sense. And actually, if anyone's listening and they haven't been out, Jamie, have you been shopping at all? I know Broadstairs isn't exactly a big city.
Not shopping as such. The only places I've been to Wickes a couple of times, which is like our Home Depot, if you like. And I've been to the dump twice to drop off some rubbish when we were sorting out the back garden, because everyone seems to be doing their back gardens now.
How long? How long did you take to queue to get down the tip?
Do you know what? We went straight in both times.
Really? That's mad. We
literally straight in.
Kat and I went.
The first time we went in there, we literally drove in there. There was 4 cars already in there, but there was no queue to get in. The second time we got up there was 0 cars to get it, queue to get in, and 0 cars in there.
I don't know if it's different in the UK than it is here in the US, but the dump that I have that I go to when I need to, and I don't go there very often, but it has an area for you to drop off your landscaping excess material, like your cut off shrubs and whatever the case may be. If you have a tree fall down, you can dump it off over there. Then it also has the area where you can back your car or truck, in my case, into it and just get rid of your garbage for the week. I actually have a service, so I don't actually do that. But I mean, they have that area there. And they have an area where you can drop off like electronics and also refrigerator stuff. I mean, or, whatever's made out of metal, because they do the recycling there. Mm-hmm. And I was there one day and I was talking to the guy just because, I mean, heck, when I'm out I like to talk to people just to find out what's going on, what they're doing. And I started talking to him. I said, you know what, if I could find a use for that, and I forget what it was. It might have been an old bicycle or something. I said, could I take that with me on the way out? I mean, obviously somebody dumped it here, didn't want it, didn't cost you anything. Can I take it and go make something out of it? And he said, no, you can't do it.
Yeah, you're not allowed to.
You're not allowed to. Well, I mean, I was like going, WTF, why not? I mean, if I can immediately thought of Tim Sway. I'm like, he would go ballistic at this point in time. It's like, I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Why can't I take that if I can make it into something? And he just says, no, it's company rules. You can't do it.
I've had the same and the complete opposite responses in various tips, and it seems to depend on A, who you speak to, B, the mood that person's in, because they, one day they'll say one thing and another day the same person will say the complete
let me put it
opposite.
this way, Richard. He was a young guy, and I actually had just bought some beer, and I snuck a beer into the trailer that he was in so he could have a beer with me. And we sat there, and so, I mean, we were on very friendly terms, but he still said no.
Yeah, I mean, over here, certainly, I've had both extreme. Like, no, not you can't do that. And the other one guy's like, yeah, do what you like. It's like, I'm not fussed. Very, very, very strange. Some places it's one and some places the other. And I think it tends to be a very local, almost personal thing for that. But we went to the tip, Kat and I, a little while ago, because like Jamie said, everyone's doing their gardens at the moment. And we must have queued for half an hour to get in. It took a long time to get through. It was just a nightmare. But we actually went into like proper town. We drove down into Cambridge and to go to the main shopping centre in the city centre. We went to 2 shops and we went to a little cafe, like a little independent, because that's what you have to do now, to have a quick bite for lunch. Guess how long it took us? 2 shops to look at the same item in the 2 shops. We knew exactly what we were looking for. We went to 2 shops which were...
When did you go? How long ago was this?
This was yesterday. This was a Saturday lunchtime. The 2 shops are no more than 100 metres apart, and the car park for the shopping centre is about 300 metres from literally the middle. Make a triangle like 300 metres and then go 50 metres out from the bottom of that.
I don't know what the situation is in the UK, but I would say probably, and I'm guessing, because if it was here, I'd say 15 minutes, but I'm going to guess probably an hour.
Yeah. Normally it would be about 15 minutes, literally drive in, though going, you have to walk through the car park, different floors and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
3 hours. 3 hours to go to 2 shops and have a spot of lunch at a third place. 3 hours. Because
was there that many people, or
it wasn't so much that there was that many people, because actually in the shopping centre it wasn't really any busier than it was in the school holidays. No, not even that, but like term time after the kids went back in kind of October last year. It wasn't that busy with people. The delays were happening because obviously the shops people are queuing to go in the shops because they're only letting so many like capacity within the shops, so people could spread out, distance and all the rest of it. So this was probably the biggest thing I learned is, if you are looking to go and do something, it doesn't matter what it is, but plan loads of extra time in to do the thing. Mm-hmm. And I mean, we were queuing to go into one shop, and we queued and it was quite quick. And then 10 minutes later, the queue was massive. like 60, 70 people queuing to go in this shop, and that all takes time. And I kid you not, it costs nearly as much to park as it does to get the things that we wanted in the shops. Not quite, but it's because it was really expensive shopping. So all these things take time. And so that's why, moving forward after all this planning,
So that's what you did learn. Okay, well,
totally.
Moving on from social aspects, I have a question from Andy Pugh. Actually, we have 3 from Andy, and we could probably take up the rest of the time we have today with what the questions he has, but, it's up to you guys if you want to. Andy, is going back into the shop a big hurdle for some people? I don't know if you guys have ever had a problem getting into, and honestly, if you've ever had a problem getting back out there and getting inspired and getting motivated, is that a problem for some people? Andy, my answer is going to be yeah. I'm quite sure it probably is a problem for some people because until they get out there and get motivated, there's a million when you're sitting on your couch and you're watching your favorite television show, it needs to take something to get you off your rear end and get out in the shop. And until you actually get out there and, forgive me, make the first cut on something, you're just not going to be motivated until you start. So yeah, there are people that fall back into the I just can't be bothered anymore, or I just don't want to do it right now, or this is so comfortable I want to stay here. So yeah, I think there is, but I mean, I'll let you guys tell me if you think differently.
Go on, Jamie.
I kind of need to make the door frame a bit bigger for me. I mean, since this lockdown thing, I've kind of put on a few pounds.
I love it.
New door frame, 5 foot wide, 6 foot high.
I love it. I was actually thinking when you read the question out, I was thinking because either you guys, well, Chris wouldn't, but Jamie, did you see Andy's Instagram stories today?
I haven't, no.
Because he was. I'm assuming that occasionally Andy has problems getting in the shop because he posted some stories of him. He needed to get something out of one of his sheds, which is like I don't know, 6 foot by 12 foot shed, and the thing that he wanted was right at the back of the shed. And then he showed the shed, and there was about 4 inches of floor. That's as far as you could step into this shed because it was just floor to ceiling stuff.
Oh man,
like 10 foot deep. And then as the day progressed, it was sort of like, I managed to get through this, I managed to get through that, and these were labelled and slowly reaching the back of the stuff that he wanted. But Chris, have you had issues getting back in the shop? Because I know you've been not in the shop for a while, but it's been getting kind of dirtier and more cluttered, and has that been part of the
you know what, I think to some extent it probably has, just because I don't want to blame my pain on it, because there are ways to get around that if I really was determined. I mean, for anybody who doesn't know, I hurt my back almost a year ago, and it still hasn't healed yet. And I can't stand up for more than like 5 minutes before I need to sit down. And it's getting better. So, I mean, I plan on getting out there again as soon as I can, but I kind of feel like Izzy Swan right now. But yeah, when you have the pain, you know what's going to come your way when you get out there. Does it discourage you from wanting to do it? Yeah. I mean, it's, much like, when you turn the stove on to high and the burner gets hot and you know that if you touch it, it's going to hurt. You don't want to do that, so it's like, it's one of those things,
Have you, because I guess when you're not using the space in the same way over a period of time, I think Andy was asking about turning into a bit of a dumping ground, and I do that all the time. I get halfway through something.
My shop did, but I was able to get out there and spend probably 4 hours because I had to sit down every 5 minutes, but I did get my shop clean, so my shop is ready to go. I just have to be able to get out there and do it. I don't want anybody's pity Because one thing in life, I swear to God, I hate is people pitying me. I don't like pity, so just save it. So what I plan on doing is just getting out there and doing it. It's honestly that it. I will tell you a very personal story, real quick. When I started my YouTube channel, I did it for one reason and one reason only. It's because I was building a table for my brother that had sentimental value before he and I. And it had to do with our father, who had recently passed away. And I spent almost a month trying to figure out how I wanted to make this table. And I finally just said to myself, get off your butt, get out in the shop, make the first cut on something, and then you'll start to get this table done. And after a month, that's what I did. So I named my channel Make the First Cut, because that is why I do what I do. And so I'm not shy about getting off my rear end and doing something. It's just, this capability. When you're capable, do it. If you have a problem with it, then I'm sorry, but I'm going to give myself a break here. It's like
Well, I mean, there's no point putting yourself through discomfort, because at the end of the day, you're out there to enjoy the time that you have, and
exactly,
enjoy the process. And if it's not enjoyable for whatever reason, then that's probably the time to kind of.
But the problem is my mind wants to go out there, and has for eons, but my body's going, you might want to wait a week. And so I don't know when it's kind
of like doing some skull soaring with a bad ankle and like putting your tongue on a 9-volt battery. No, it's going to work, but you're going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd probably put that in the camp of that's possibly not the cleverest thing. But I 100% get the kind of what's the word I'm looking for, the mentality
Analogy?
to do that. Yeah, no, the mentality to do that. Like, I know it's going to hurt. I really want to do it. I'm going to do it anyway because that's more. I'm going to get more out of the thing, making the thing, than I am of taking an extra week to heal your ankle or whatever. Yeah, I 100% get that.
It's this latest one that I've done. I spent 2 days scrolling a 13-hour project, and after that 2 days, I literally couldn't walk.
See, that's
literally couldn't stand on that foot.
So it's only like a little coaster or something that you've been making, maybe a kiwi.
Yes, 13 hours. Yeah, I wish.
All right, next question.
Yeah.
How many shops, when not used quickly, descend into being dumping grounds, or is it just his? I think we already kind of covered that, but mine does. Mine does immediately.
Does yours turn into a dumping ground mid-project as well?
No.
Oh, mine does.
Because that tends to be when mine gets the messiest.
No, because if I'm out there and I'm in the middle of doing something, and if my wife does her typical, this belongs out here, I immediately take care of it and get it out of the way. So no, it doesn't turn into a dumping ground. When I'm not out there and my wife comes in and goes, oh, this belongs out here, yes, it becomes the dumping ground that I had to clean up.
So I tend to be in the when I'm out there, and like last week or the last week and a half has been a classic example. There isn't much space, as Jamie can attest to. So by the time you get a few things in there that you're working on, plus the stuff out that you're using to work on, the floor space suddenly gets eroded, and then because you're in the middle of it, horizontal space gets eroded, and by the time you've finished for the day, or you're about to finish for the day, you're like, I've actually got nowhere to put anything, and I can't find anything, and now everything's taking 3 times as long. So I tend to be of the I don't really do the whole clean shop, happy shop thing, but I do this do again. I do the I've got to work in a clean environment, and that doesn't matter whether it's in the workshop. Yeah. We should get a little sound bite with a little, that the little kiddies like every time that happens, you have to edit that in. Yeah, so it doesn't matter whether I'm in the workshop or whether I'm at a client's house or out in the yard or on the driveway or wherever it is. I kind of have to keep myself organized and clean and tidy. Because from the point of view of just, you pick up a tool with a cord and you've picked it up and put it down with another tool with a cord for the last hour and they all get intertwined. It's like a maypole dance. So you pick up one and then you've got the tool you wanted and then about another 4 tools hanging from the same bird's nest of cables.
Okay.
Just,
you see this is where I think I am privileged, because not only was I doing woodworking at the same time, but I was also a cook, and then eventually became a chef in a restaurant. And there's a rule in the restaurant world. If you've never worked in the restaurant business, then you probably wouldn't have heard this. But if you have worked in the restaurant business, you've heard this phrase before. It's called clean as you go. And that was so ingrained at me at a young age that I now employ that in my shop. So when I make a mess in my shop, I clean before I go. Yeah. And it's not that I have, because my shop is a friggin' mess right now. But I mean, it's not that I have an immaculate looking shop. It's just that my tools are clean. My surfaces are clean. I make sure I clean what I do after I'm done making a mess of things. So we're going back to, what kind of things you might incorporate into what you're doing now and where you can get inspiration. Then, there's one that came from me. I mean, I don't know if it's going to be any good or any use to anybody else, but that's one that I had, was clean as you go. Yeah. It's a lot easier to do it that way than it is to go in there and clean the whole freaking mess up later.
Yeah, I have to clean as I go because of the size of my workshop. Sometimes it seems like a shame, especially if I've been wood turning a nice smelling wood. Like cedar or walnut or something like that, You get there, right. You can also walk back into the workshop. You go, and then you leave it a couple of days and it's gone.
At the risk of sounding a bit snooty, Jamie, I always not really struggle, but I've always been amazed. That's probably a better description at just how messy your workshop is. But actually, it's not messy. It's really weird because like everything's covered in wood shavings. Yeah, there's wood dust because turning is a messy, throws up a lot of stuff. And I don't think you owned a dust extractor for like the first ever.
I've only had one for about
Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday.
So you get that, and
you always thing is I've used it twice. It's in the shed now.
Took it out of the box and put it back in the box and. You get that kind of film of dust that just it is inevitable, and then the wood shavings. And yes, and this isn't like have a pop at Jamie time. We've already done that bit, but you sweep up the wood shavings and all the rest of it. But I think I'm a bit OCD because I was like, I've got to tidy this place up because I put something down and it's not buried in wood shavings, but it's lying on some wood shavings, and I really struggle with that. But at the same time, I am absolutely, do you know what? I was actually saying this same thing to Kat today. We were having a similar conversation. I'm in absolute awe of you because you have this almost magical ability. You just walk into your workshop, grab a piece of wood out the cupboard, mount it on the lathe, and you just go at it. And it's on the lathe and turning before you've worked out what you think you might be making out of it. And I don't know whether you're in your head you're about 4 steps ahead or whether you're just catching up, but I have to be, my mind is I'm gonna try this and I'm gonna try that to do that.
You plan things. You plan things where it doesn't appear that Jamie does. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, no, Jamie doesn't plan anything. Jamie's like a social hand grenade when it comes to making in his workshop. When you step foot into his workshop, it's like, but then all of a sudden the smoke clears and there's this amazing 18-inch diameter fruit bowl, or this beautiful resin hybrid egg with a tea light underneath it that it's just mental.
Well, you know why I spend so much attention to cleaning up dust and things of that nature in my shop is because, well, as you guys know, I do, especially during the winter months. And let's be honest, I mean, more times where I live, more times out of not, it's chilly outside, and it's below 75 degrees, which is what most finishes need to cure. I need to do it inside. And so I want to keep the dust out of my shop. So I keep the dust out of my finish. And I'm not trying to be anal about this. I'm just saying it just makes sense. If you want to put a good finish on something, keep the dust out of the air. And if there's no dust in the air, then you have a good finish. Otherwise, if there's dust in the air, it's going to settle on your finish, and you're just not going to be happy. So,
And there's obviously the other aspect of if there's dust in the air, you're breathing it in probably.
Well, see, but I regard myself in a secondary state there. I'm more worried about the project than I am my lungs. That's probably why I shouldn't have smoked for as long as I did. We got one more question, and then we can move on and actually be done with this. And it's another one from Andy. So, Andy, thank you for the questions today again. What steps would you take or recommend someone else take in order to overcome any hurdles of getting back into the shop? Or is it just as simple as developing the attitude of just do it?
So I think that there's two different ways of looking at it. You've got that just do it, or there's one step at a time. You got the I'm not going to name names, but there was one person in the community that was having trouble and they couldn't get back out to their shop. And I was just saying, look, just one day, go out to your workshop and put a bit of wood in the lathe. And that's it. That's it. Just go back in the house and leave it for that day. Next day, go back out there with that bit of wood on the lathe and turn the lathe on. And then turn the lathe off and then go back in the house. And keep doing something to that lathe until one day you feel like taking a tool to that bit of wood.
Baby steps.
Just one small step at a time. Baby steps.
Baby steps.
And one day something will click inside of you. And one day you'll think, right, bang, there you go. And
I think
all of a sudden you'll feel like turning.
I think that anybody who's been out in the shop and has their own and has been excited about something they've done in the past, it's not hard to recapture that excitement on a new project. The problem is getting to the point where you want to start that new project. And once you get started, that excitement comes back and then you finish it. It's the whole thing about, go out and do it. And I'm not going to pimp myself again, but it's like, go out and do that and then get something done. It's a matter of wanting to get out there and doing something. Now, baby steps makes a lot of sense, Jamie. I mean, I think that, I don't know that it needs to be handled that tenderly. But at the same point in time, if you have a desire, you have a desire. If you don't have a desire, then you have to ask yourself why. And if the desire isn't there, then it isn't there. I don't know how to explain that except to say, if you've been motivated in the past because you've done some awesome work that you were really excited about, really happy about, people may have seen it when you were done, you got praised for it, and you're kind of looking for that adulation that comes along with that, then it's not hard to get out there and try to find that again. Whether you do or not, it's questionable, but it's a matter of what do you want to do? If you don't want to do something, there's no point in forcing it.
Yeah, it almost sort of boils down to, if you want to do something, you'll find a way. If you don't want to, you'll find an excuse. And that's not just about making things, that's about anything. At all. And I think this runs true to a lot of makers when they're talking to their friends who aren't makers. And you have that conversation at work or at the gym or in the shopping queue or wherever it is.
Right.
I don't know how you find. I'd love to crochet, or I'd love to be able to make my own pens, or I'd love to make a whatever it is, but I just don't have the time. And you're like, I have the same amount of time that you have, but I don't sit and watch 2 hours of TV every night, and I don't, I don't sit and watch the football for 2 hours every Saturday, and that's, and I don't go away on cruises 3 times a year or whatever it is that person likes to spend their time doing that you don't necessarily like to spend your time doing. Do you see what I mean? So if you want to do it, then you'll find time to do it, and if you don't, then that's fine. And you don't have to find an excuse to say, actually, I don't want to. And sometimes I think I wrote an article on my website, like a blog post, which was basically like the safest type of workshop there is. The biggest safety tip is just have a dirty, messy workshop, because you just don't want to go out there and do anything. But because I'll look through the glass and be like, oh, yeah,
So
I want to get on
on.
and do that, but I've got to move all that stuff, and then I've got to move that, and I've probably got to sort that out, and I really should tidy that up because that'll be the space. And you just look at it and you just go, no, I can't be bothered with that. And then you go off and do something else.
I can tell you when I was employed, my workshop was my safe haven. And it didn't matter whether I wanted to be out there or not. It was just a matter of I knew that was a place I could go and let the rest of the world go away. And so there were times that I would go out there and just sit on my shop stool, turn on some music, and look around and just develop ideas. But it was time in my shop that I needed, because I needed to kind of decompress from the rest of everything that was going on in my life. But most of the time when I was out there on that shop stool listening to music and looking around, I came up with an idea, and I just all of a sudden started to make it. It doesn't mean that you have to walk out there with a project in mind. I mean, if you've got this project in mind and you're going, I'm going to be challenged by doing this, that's automatically strike one. Okay. Because you're going, this is not going to be easy and I have to work at this. And so forget about that. Just go in your shop, sit on a shop stool, turn some music around, and then look around, look at your wood pile, look at your tools, and just think, what can I do? And then, start with something simple. It's not hard. It's not hard. I mean, I used to make these little, I don't know, the Cub Scouts in America used to have these little cars that they would put on almost like a Hot Wheels track, but it was actually wider than that. And you'd make the little cars and they would race them all the time. I used to make those
down the slope and along the flat level. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
I used to make those. I used to make those for the kids in my neighborhood, and just because, what a simple project. I mean, it's one piece of 2x4, an axle, and 4 wheels, but when you want to get motivated and do something, and it's not hard to find something that'll get you to do that. I mean, as you just sit out there and kind of look, but easiest way to get out of the shop is to go get in the shop, period. Even if you're just sitting there listening to music, get out of the shop and sit in the shop.
Karam's made a good point. Actually, he's saying that the biggest blocker for him, or one of the biggest blockers for him, is he doesn't feel comfortable out in his garage because it's a dumping ground. And I think we can all relate to the dumping ground, because we all dump stuff in our own workshops, and there's always somebody willing to put stuff out there, and and that's fine. But sometimes it's about, and I found sometimes it's about not doing the project, but the project then becomes developing the workshop, whether it's bending 3 bits of metal into some little hangers that you can hang drills on, that just gets them up off the side and out of the way. You've accomplished something, you've done that little thing, and that makes the next thing a bit easier. And then it almost goes back to what I think Jamie was saying about the baby steps, because that 5 or 10 minutes today will save you hours over the next few weeks and months. Because,
and it will actually
always be in the same place.
Well, excuse me, I didn't mean to burp. Actually, I did, but all right, whatever. I was just trying to be polite. We
weren't going to make a big thing about you burping.
No, that's all right.
I think we've gone past that now. So
I've had 2 beers, so I mean that makes sense. The whole thing about keeping a shop clean, if nothing else, especially if you're out there infrequently, a clean shop. I mean, if you do all your work at the end of the day, 2 weeks ago, you finished a project, clean up the shop, throw out all the crap when you're done with the project. That way, 2 weeks from then, you'll walk out in a very welcoming space. It's the whole clean as you go kind of thing again. But all right, I don't want to get on with this too much longer because we still have to let Jamie sing.
No, drag it out. Then we won't have time. Oh, Jamie, we didn't have time. Maybe next week.
Which unfortunately has to be done.
Maybe next week when Richard isn't here. What a surprise!
No! I'm going to
Jamie, I'm actually going to leave my headphones on for this. So,
that's because you've already suffered it once already today.
I did. So go ahead and hit me again.
Jamie's page.
What do you got, man?
So, basically the same as every week. Stickers. If you're after stickers, go to makersinternationalpodcast.com/stickers. I'm not allowed to say that it's a one email, one kind of deal kind of thing. So I'm not going to say it. So do not go and set up another email address. And if you've ever used your email address before,
if you did, it would still work. It would still work though.
If you do go and set up another email address to go and get your stickers, you will get £20 off your stickers. So yeah,
but don't do that.
Yeah, but don't do that because I've been told I'm not allowed to tell you that.
I don't think you were told you weren't allowed to. I think somebody just questioned the morality of thing and then promptly ignored it. By the way, it's just a curiosity.
Promptly ignored it. Anyways, my shout out this week goes to Steve Kerville from SK Crafts. He made himself a logo mirror. And it's got some LED lights in there. It came out really good, actually. So, yeah, it's one of these. He normally does wood turning pieces, but he done something a little bit different. And, it came out great. So, yeah, SK Crafts.
Awesome.
Yeah, Steve's a really nice guy as well. I met him at Maker Central, the second Maker Central. And really nice guy.
Yeah.
Don't know if I've met him or not. I'll be honest with you. Steve, I'm horrible with names, and I'm horrible.
Probably avoided him at Maker Central.
No, I do.
No, that was Dave.
I do not avoid people. Please, I mean,
except Dave. Sorry, Dave.
Except Dave.
Where in the hell would I get the uppitience to ignore somebody? I mean, come on, give me a break here. My shout out this week goes to Steve. Well, I tell you what, this is another one of the. I mean, because I remember I shouted out David Walder last week, and it was kind of one of those. Good to see your face again, brother. This is another one. Good to see your face again, Steve Carmichael. He put out a video this week on how to make a donut wall. And Steve Carmichael, in case you didn't know it, is everybody's wives. If you're a male, he's your wife's favorite woodworker. Guarantee it.
Yeah.
Anyway, he put out a video titled How to Make a Donut Wall. WALL, wall. And it's. I'm not going to tell you about it because if I did, I don't want to steal the boys' thunder. So just go check out the video if you have a chance. Steve Carmichael, how to make a donut wall. Mm-hmm. I thought that video was awesome.
I've never met Steve in person, but I like to think I know him fairly well. I've known him for a long time, way back to like the days of Keek when Steve Ramsey had double figures of subscribers, and he is just the happiest guy on earth.
Steve's a great guy.
He's like everyone's favorite uncle. He's just like that, the happiest guy. If you're feeling a little bit, if you're just fallen over and twisted your ankle and you're just a little bit sick of the world and you bumped into him, it would just make everything okay,
I met him in Atlanta probably 4 years ago. And a lot of people went over to his house that night, and I saw how many people were going over to his house, and I went, I'm not going to do that to Steve because I just thought that was an imposition, so I stayed away. But I had met Steve. I met Steve at the woodworking show in Atlanta, and it's just a good dude.
Top bloke.
Richard, you got one or no?
I've met Steve at the Atlanta woodworking show, and you should have seen his face when I took him some flake chocolate.
Yeah, because he's got he's
Yeah.
got is his
Yeah,
is
he
his
likes
sister live in the UK?
he likes his
or-
flakes.
Yeah, I do have a shout out. I don't have a shout out. It's not a YouTube video like is sort of the norm. This is a little bit outside the box. If anyone's got Apple TV, there's a series on Apple TV at the moment. I'm really enjoying it. It's got nothing to do with making it. For me, it's a kind of a sort of a mix of Mad Max meets Vikings. It's a bit
What's the name of it?
It's called C, as in SEE to C Vision. The storyline is in the 21st century there was a virus struck mankind and wiped out the population to about 2 million, and then everyone that survived went blind.
All right. Well, I don't need the whole plot line.
So it's all
We've gone from shout outs to television channels or shows.
it might be of interest to somebody. I thought
Well,
that's
it's great.
all I've seen.
Well,
but,
next week is going to be my shout out. Is going to be how to bake a cake. I'm just.
it's kind of cool. But that's my
I think
shout
we're
out.
By Fanny Craddock.
You know, if you get a bit of 5 minutes to watch something completely different on telly, it might be to taste. might not be
I
just
see.
like the video.
I see the card you're playing is to make things okay. I got it.
There we go. He's with us in the end.
Nobody.
Talking of the end, I think pretty much that probably wraps up the show a little bit. This week, honestly, if you are still listening,
Yeah, except for forgetting that me and Caitlin have both got premieres tonight.
I genuinely thought that was just the norm now, Jamie.
Heaven forbid. We should actually just kind of publish that.
You could probably record a soundbite, Chris, and we'll just edit that into the show.
Yeah, we could do that. Yeah, sure.
Because I'm teasing, obviously.
We could play it remotely.
Jamie's. I'm getting scowled at. Is Jamie frozen or is he scowling at me?
No. He's fine.
I think I've frozen. It seems like there's something wrong with my StreamYard at the moment.
Okay. So, but both you and Caitlin have got a live straight after tonight's live show, which was a few days ago for people listening in the future. I'm pretty sure there won't be a free after party because we're not on Patreon. We usually do, because I've got to be up at about 5 o'clock in the morning and I'm exhausted as it is, so I'm going to be starting the week off knackered. If you are still listening, I'm genuinely amazed because the way the show seemed to start, I'm surprised anyone's listening. But if you are, thank you. If you're not, as always, we do say what we like about you, both in public and behind the scenes. So until next week, I won't be around. I'm going to do a run out. I've got to work, unfortunately. So I will leave you. Do I say capable? I would just Jamie and Chris are going to do it. I'll leave it at that. We'll just leave it to the gods. It could go either way. But yeah, keep your fingers crossed, basically.
Toka show next week. Have a great week, everybody.
That tofu show.
Toga.
See you later, everybody.
Toga.